Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 55 of Oh No Anime, the podcast. It is 6:29 p.m. on Tuesday, March 27th, 2018. My name is Mark.
I'm Patrick.
And we are back. We're going to do a bit of a different format this week. Something that we have not done
when was our last one?
in quite a while. I mean, we haven't talked about news other than just casual conversation in a while, but this week's episode is going to be 100% dedicated to news because it seems like news is basically the only thing that's happening nowadays in the anime world.
Yeah, we had, it was already a crazy news week, and then Anime Japan happened and made it crazier. Saw some really cool announcements out of there.
A few crazy news weeks, actually. We have some news from a couple of weeks ago in here as well, but we have just kind of a list of stories that we're going to run down and talk about because they're really all applicable to our interests.
They're pretty big deals.
Yeah. So before we do that, let's check in, Patrick. How are you doing?
Aside from the sunburn, I'm doing good. You know, works good. The anime's good. Anime's about to get better.
Yeah.
Been doing some D&D things lately. I'm playing some video games. I'm finally working through Persona 5. It's only been literally a year.
Yeah.
I think the game came out like 11 and a half months ago.
I don't blame you for waiting this long. That is a daunting task.
Yeah, I know it's 100 hours plus, and I had so many other things I wanted to play, but I'm finally setting apart time for it and, playing maybe like half an hour to an hour a night. So it's a crawl, but I've finished the first palace, and I'm partially through the second, so it's working.
You will get to basically overload yourself with Persona now because the Persona 5 anime is happening.
like the whole reason I really really wanted to do it is because I love Futaba's design, and I want to get there. And everybody's like, yeah, she's like the 9th palace or some shit. And I'm just like, So now that I know that Persona 5 is coming out, there's a good chance I'm not going to finish the game, but there's also a good chance that the Persona 5 anime isn't good because the P4 one wasn't.
Yeah. That's true.
It wasn't awful, but it wasn't, without having played the game, it wasn't good enough for me to keep interest in it. So I'm hoping P5 is better.
I'm hopeful that they have learned their lesson on that, and also, Persona 5. If it's somehow even possible, Persona 5 way more popular than Persona 4, especially in the West.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it also seems like they have a pretty solid staff lined up, and all the PVs have looked all right.
I'm sure that the production will be decent, but with a game like that where there's so many endings and so much of it is about personal choices with which characters you want to spend more time on.
Yeah, that'll be weird.
It's difficult to do well.
It'll be interesting.
So we get a Persona 5 omnibus and like 200 episodes.
I guess it just seems like people are definitely more optimistic about this one.
Yeah.
And I think partially because the little preview anime that they had before the game came out was really
OVA
good.
Was dope. Is it the same crew?
It's mostly the same crew, yeah. So it's at least the same studio.
All right.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited for, if it's anything like that in like a 12 or 13 episode series, then I'll be happy. And I'm of the mind, like, I'm curious about Persona 5, but not enough to like commit that much time to it, mostly because I just don't I don't know if I can. And I'm worried that I'd start it and just never. I probably in all honesty would start it and never finish
I don't finish a lot of video games.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to finish. I mean, especially a game like Persona 5, which requires even at a base level.
I did get through almost all of Monster Hunter now. I've only got like 2 Elder Dragons left, so I managed that. That's good. That's a very good video game. And then as Prepara ended about 12 hours ago, I literally watched the final episode in bed this morning before work, which ruined my day. Nice. But the Switch game came out, which is an exact replica of the arcade game, pretty much, except instead of scanning tickets, you just play the game and get stuff. That's been a lot of fun. That's a good way to alleviate the pain of something that you've looked forward to every week for literally 4 years not being there anymore.
Yeah, that's rough.
It's a bummer. Yeah, but life's all right. No huge complaints.
Yeah.
How about you?
I've been playing a lot of video games, watching a lot of anime, reading a lot of manga, surprisingly, which is not. I guess manga is probably the biggest thing in my life right now, just because, as we'll talk about in this episode a little bit more in depth, I got kind of a bug up my ass and started reading the Kase-san series, which is...
Is that in this upcoming season or the next?
That is... Well, it's not a TV anime. It's an OVA.
Ooh.
I want to say it's like a 3-part. We'll see. I have the story in here, but it's definitely not this. They're screening it in theaters in June. So I'm assuming it's probably one long OVA. But
I don't know. Sometimes they like to do that. Like I just saw the Girls in Panzer thing. It's a 6-parter, and we got part 1, and it's out on Blu-ray now. But it won't be. The part 2 won't be for another like 4 months in theaters.
Huh.
Who knows?
Well, yeah, maybe it's a multi-part thing. We'll find out. As you guys will tell, this is among some of the first times we'll be checking out these articles in detail and kind of working through it with you. But that manga is incredibly good. The first 4 volumes are out via Seven Seas Entertainment in the States. For those of you that don't know, it is a Yuri manga, one of the more well-regarded, I guess, of the new, sort of stuff that Seven Seas has licensed over the past couple of years.
Seven Seas goes out of their way to get interesting licenses, and I am so thankful for that. They do a really good job in curating their collection.
Well, they have also made a name for themselves as a publisher of Yuri manga, and there are really the people that are putting a vast majority of the Yuri manga that are in bookstores in the U.S. There. But having dabbled severely in Yuri manga in the past, I can definitely say that not only is this the best Yuri manga I've ever read, it is also probably one of, if not the best, like just romance things of any genre I've ever read, because it's really good and it's really sweet. And the most important thing is that I feel like I am watching actual human beings interact, and it seems
refreshing for a medium out of Japan.
Yeah.
That's a mean thing to say. Normally they're anime caricatures, though.
Well, it's just, boys love and girls love are both incredibly, unfortunately, sort of inundated with content that is very dehumanizing, I guess is a good way to put it, to its characters. So it's good to, that sort of thing is not limited to boys love and girls love. It's just like, it's a particular quirk of a lot of that genre's most popular stuff. Like we have Citrus airing this just finishing up this season, which is based on a Yuri manga that is, to say it is problematic would be putting it lightly. I try not to use the word problematic because I don't feel it's a good enough descriptor. But yeah, it, like, multiple times while watching that thing, I have been like,
I didn't even start it.
I don't feel like I'm looking at actual human beings here. So, but yeah, I've been reading that, or I read that. I read it all in a day because it's all very short and also very good. And then I've been rereading Kosuke's Gangsta, which some of you probably won't remember, but had an anime adaptation a few years ago. It was the last thing that
Rip Manglobe.
Yeah, last thing that Manglobe ever adapted. But let me use my incredibly small platform here to tell you that don't let that stop you from reading the manga, because the manga is very good, and rereading it has really given me a second opinion on it. Like I read it the first time and was just like, yeah, it's pretty good, pretty cool. I like the characters, but now rereading it, I think being older and a little bit wiser, I'm realizing just how fucking good it is, and it is really good.
Okay, this is going to be like a kind of a mean question about Gangsta, but I have actually, believe it or not, been reading a good bit of BL recently. Somebody has introduced me to stories, and because of them, I have read quite a bit. And looking at the art for the manga, those hands are awfully big.
Yeah, it's the manga.
Are there BL tones on purpose, or is it the BL goggles? Because I've heard a lot about that.
Kosuke is a woman, and she before this was known for some maybe was known for some BL stuff. But yeah, no, it's if it's the type of, if you like BL and you like the
stories are normally really good.
Yeah, if you like BL and you like the sort of art style that's very prevalent of just like, like kind of tall, big, lanky dudes with giant hands, and
and one of them has light hair and the other has dark hair.
Yeah, I mean there is definitely like BL overtones in it. I hesitate to call the relationship between Nick and Wark, the two main characters.
A lot of BL thrives on it being a gray area.
Yeah, but even so, like I've read and seen shit that is way gayer than Gangsta. Like Gangsta is pretty damn hetero in a lot of ways. Like down to the fact that like Warwick is a gigolo, and
Yeah.
like fucks women for a living. And
Hey man, if you can be gay for pay, why can't you be straight for pay?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I'm only in the 5th volume now, and there's 7, and then there's a whole other spin-off series that I haven't even touched. But would I be surprised if I saw a scene where Warwick is being paid by a man to fuck him? I would not be surprised in the slightest, because Warwick, he definitely seems open. Yeah, he definitely seems open enough to do that. And but Nick is
Nick was the quiet one, right?
Nick is not the quiet one. He's the deaf one. Yeah, he's deaf. That's like a huge plot
It's been a while.
No, it's all right. That's arguably one of the more interesting storytelling devices in Gangsta, is that Nick, who is the other main character. There's 3 main characters. There's Nick, who is what's called a Twilight, who's like basically a super soldier. And it's set in Ergastelum, which is like this walled off city where all of the super soldiers have been sent after the last war to basically live out their incredibly short lives. They only live to be about like 35. Warwick is the human formerly from like a very famous rich family who met Nick when he was a kid, when Nick was hired on as bodyguard, and Nick did a bunch of shit that allowed Warwick to escape a very abusive life. And they basically ran away together and have been working as handymen ever since, which are basically like, they do odd jobs, everything from like hardware work to like
Gintama.
Killing people. Yeah, kind of. Only like it's way more serious. There's a lot of very funny comedy in Gangsta though. But and then there's Alex, who is a person from outside Ergastelum, who is a former prostitute that Warwick kind of rescues.
Like protects,
I think Nick actually kills her old pimp, and then she like kind of just ends up with them, and it's a very interesting relationship. There's a lot of nuance to a lot of their relationships. Yeah, like I said, I would hesitate to call Nick and Warwick's relationship. It's so subtle, and there's so few moments where I truly feel like they have feelings for each other outside of just like incredibly good, close, emotionally honest friends. That I mean, it's easy to look at the art and look at the fact that like there are 2 very attractive men on the cover, like,
with big hands.
Yeah, with giant hands and hairy arms. But it's I think there's a lot more nuance to it, which I think is really cool. But yeah, don't let the anime adaptation scare you away, because that thing was shit. The one positive thing,
the first couple episodes.
Yeah, the one positive thing I will say about the anime adaptation is that the voice cast was really good, and now rereading this, it's giving me a whole new appreciation for it, because I am hearing all the characters in their respective seiyuu voices, because like Sawabe voices Warwick, so which is like the most. Of course he does, like that's totally his fucking voice, but it's really good. Rate it. It's good. I think there are 7 volumes now.
Who published it here?
Viz, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on their Viz Select label.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is like their adult oriented, or not adult, but like more mature oriented. But there's 7 volumes of the mainline Gangsta manga, which I think is starting up again this year, because the mangaka took a break and was also doing a spin-off of Gangsta, which is also licensed here, about like 2 other characters, which I don't know if I'm going to read or not. But anyways, it's good. I was not planning on spending 10 minutes talking about that, but
shit happens.
It's a really good manga, and I would suggest it. Also, and like I said, we'll get to in a second, read the Kase-san manga as well, because it's also incredibly good. But now to the news.
I have a piece of breaking news real quick that is definitely anime related that I want to bring up first, and that is John Cena confirmed for upcoming Duke Nukem film.
Is that anime related?
Are you saying Duke Nukem and John Cena both aren't anime?
So anyone that's curious about what John Cena would actually look like as Duke Nukem, he played a character before the John Cena character in the WWE in his independent days, or in his indies days, I want to say. Or either that or in his early days in the WWE. It was called The Prototype, and it featured him with bleach blonde, spiky hair.
Oh, hell yeah.
So search John Cena, The Prototype, and you will definitely see something like what he will look like in the Duke Nukem.
A Duke Nukem movie coming out in 2018ing Seems like an awful idea, but John Cena's Duke Nukem seems like a good idea.
Does it?
Who would do better?
John Cena is a very charismatic dude, but when I look at him, I don't see Duke Nukem.
We're going to fix that.
Yeah, those aliens are going to pay for shooting up my ride.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. I really hope he says, I'm going to tear off your head and shit down your neck.
Yeah. I think it's throat. Is it neck or throat?
I don't know. It's a line from Full Metal Jacket. Anyways, now to actual news.
Listen, that was very
so wash
important.
our hands of that bullshit and get to the actual news. Say, Patrick, you want to start with the biggest story of all time? Or just the biggest story that we have, probably.
Of all time. Evangelion's coming back? No.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
Gainax isn't dead. Uru and Blue is coming up?
Yeah.
No.
Studio Trigger and Kara are closing their doors, and they're all returning to Gainax for Gurren Lagann Season 2.
Don't make me cry.
I mean, kind of along those same lines, though. So we already knew Fully Cooley 2 and 3 were happening. Mm-hmm. We kind of really haven't talked about it much, mostly because there haven't been much news before last week.
I think we got all of it at once.
Well, a couple months ago they announced, or like a month or two ago, they announced what the 2 and 3 like titles were going to be, which is hilariously Fully Cooley Progressive and Fully Cooley Alternative, which, in case you don't know, those are both Sword Art Online things already.
They sure are.
But Fully Cooley is way cooler than Sword Art Online, so I'm also, those are fucking fantastic names.
I hope we get a hate
Fully
comment
Cooley.
for that.
Yeah, sure. From like a 12-year-old?
From Digibro.
Yeah. No, he would be the last person to ever disagree with
I don't know. It seems all he does is make people mad.
That's true. Should that be our last story? I don't know.
Oh, no, I refuse.
Anyway, so a lot of Fully Cooley 2 and 3 news happened last week. The biggest of which is that Adult Swim themselves dropped a brand new trailer that was like 1 minute and 30 seconds long for both Season 2 and Season 3. They revealed that Season 2 is going to be premiering in June of this year, and Season 3 is going to be premiering in September. Also, it's basically confirmed that the original dub cast is back because we, of course, heard Kari Wahlgren herself as Haruko in the trailer. There was a new Pillow song that they revealed, and they also, Adult Swim didn't do this, but basically Production IG coordinated that with them, and they released their own trailer. And revealed that I think both of the OVA or both seasons of the OVAs are going to be premiering in Japanese theaters starting in September. And they also did basically the same thing that Adult Swim did and confirmed the return of Mayumi Shintani as Haruko. They revealed the entire cast of at least in Japanese of Fully Cooley 2 and 3. And then they released basically like a full cast list or a full staff list, even
basically
outside
all of the relevant information.
Yeah, like even outside of everything that they've already released, because obviously we knew that Katsuyuki Motohiro and Hideto Iwai and all these like sort of new people are going to be working on it, but they also released like basically the full Anime News Network style sort of staff list, and I'm trying to see in here.
I think on top of that, they're also starting their PR push in earnest, because I had somebody at work that just like vaguely knows that I'm into anime email me and be like, "Hey, did you see this? I didn't know there was going to be a new Fully Cooley." So it's hitting mainstream news. So
the biggest thing for me, reading this Anime News Network article when they revealed the additional staff, there's a credit in here called Sub Character Design, and it features none other than Mai Yoneyama from Kisniver and Little Witch Academia. Basically, one of Trigger's sort of rising stars within that studio.
I'd say she's a star already.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely a star, but I mean, compared to fucking everyone else that's working on the series, Jesus. But yeah, so there's we'll try to put as many links in our if you go to onoanime.moe, I'm going to make sure to have all the links to all the articles we're talking about today in the show notes. And so, there's 3 articles that ANN did this week on that. But, so we're going to be going to Anime Expo in July, having seen
that's
a new season of
That's
Fully
not
Cooley.
something I expected.
Me neither. It's not something that, I don't know if I ever expected it or not, but it's definitely not something that I thought about. Like, I never thought that it was... like
I assumed it would be fall.
Yeah. I mean, I I was taking DeMarco's statement last year as at face value of him saying like it's going to premiere not too far into 2018. I guess June is technically not too far into 2018. It's only halfway. But yeah, it's that's going to be fucking wild, especially since it'll be running weekly for 6 weeks, which actually really means if they started at the beginning of June, then it won't even be over by the time that we go to AX.
We'll be about 4 weeks into it.
Yeah.
One thing that I noticed, and I'm sure a lot of people have noticed too, is the staff is different for each one. The staff is different for progressive and alternative, which makes me wonder, especially with the names, whether they're going to be chronologically sequential or if they're going to be like maybe even at the same time and focusing on different parts, or like what's gonna happen. It's begged a lot of interesting questions, and the trailers don't help answer them at all. No. And that is great. They shouldn't. It's full equally.
Exactly. It is really interesting too, looking at these sort of like additional staff lists that they've revealed. If you look at the Fully Coolly Progressive, which is the second one, staff, animation production, the sole credit is Production IG. However, on Fully Coolly 3, we have Production IG, our boys over at Studio Nut. And also, what is it? The Flip Flappers director's new studio, Reveroot.
Is it Reveroot? No, Hayward's doing Durian. I don't think they have a Durian on this list, only because Durian doesn't officially exist yet.
Let me look at Reveroot.
I'm not sure who Reveroot is.
Oh no, they're animation assistants.
Oh, that's a big piece of news we don't have on the list. Real quick, big piece of news. The guy that did Flip Floppers, Oda something, he's starting his own studio that's working on
Kiyotaka Oshiyama.
Yeah, Oshiyama.
Yeah. He's doing the mechanical design on this series. Yeah. So, the differences in staff and also animation production between the two are incredibly interesting. I don't really know why. That is, but it's anyone's guess until we see it. It'll be. I think to me the biggest question now is obviously when exactly in June does Adult Swim start airing this, and B, the last time that we had a massive event for a thing that Adult Swim was single-handedly reviving that is like tied into their identity as a brand, it was Samurai Jack, and they were putting the episodes up on iTunes like the day after they came out.
I do recall reading, I don't remember where, it might have been on Twitter or something, that they were actually going to have the day after it airs the Japanese dub available on AdultSwim.net.
Huh. Okay.
Or .com, whichever.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see sort of what the serving pipeline for this thing is going to be. That's really my biggest question.
This is one where I'm sure it will be worth it to watch in both languages, just because it's so tied into Adult Swim that they do have production credits, so maybe it will be a holistic thing. But I would not be surprised at all if it was significantly different in English and Japanese.
Oh yeah, I mean, considering how different the original Fully Coolly was in English and Japanese, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see that, and also, it's just going to be crazy. Like, Haruko was the first voiceover role Kari Walgren ever had. Like that was her opening salvo.
It was all downhill. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, it's still one of, if not the most defining role of her career. Definitely launched her career in voice acting, that's for sure. But so basically, the moral of this story is we know the hard facts, but those still don't tell us shit. we still don't know.
Get used to it.
We still don't know anything.
We ain't gonna know shit when the show's over.
Yep. Hopefully. Yeah.
That's how it should work.
Yeah. So, anyways, really fucking exciting time to be an anime fan. I mean, I know there's a lot of haters, a lot of people that don't want another Fully Coolly series, and like I understand that. Fully Coolly is definitely its own self-contained thing. Did it need a sequel? Fuck no. But is it getting a sequel, and is there anything I can do to the contrary? No. But also, are there a lot of people working on this that I really like? Yes.
Yeah, I did see. I did see Kevin of Sakuga blog fame say, like, as much as he wants to hate on it for being such like a nostalgia thing, as soon as the pillows kick in, you're just like, oh fuck.
Yeah, there it is.
You kind of have to like it.
it's, you know, even in this day and age, if it is simply trying to recapture some of the magic of the original Fully Cooley, it's still going to be like nothing else out there, period. Like nothing else in anime, even like from the original Fully Cooley's airing till now, has had like a soundtrack curated entirely based off of like an obscure indie rock band. Like it's just not a thing that has happened. And then, like, you know, the way that this thing is being made and you know, the closest thing that's ever really happened to this in terms of production was Space Dandy, but even then that is absolutely nothing like what this is like. This is like, you know, one of the most cooperative efforts we've seen between you know, obviously a couple people that have been trying to make this happen for fucking, you know, 18 years. Yeah. But, you know, it's just, it's a weird thing. It's a weird, crazy thing. And I'm glad, I'm happy it's happening this way. And basically, you know, I'd be a lot less, you know, if I had seen anything so far that gave me pause about the way that this thing is being handled, then I would be taking a lot different tack. But basically from the moment that
so far so good.
Yeah, like from the moment that they showed the first PV at AX until now, I've been pretty damn confident that they're, you know, they're at least going to try to do right by it, you know? So anyways, that's that. There's, you know, you won't have too much difficulty finding any sort of material related to that, but online, but still, if you've been hiding under a rock for the past week, Fully Cooley 2 and 3 are officially happening and have release dates, at least release months. Anyways, let's move on. So as we were talking about earlier, and I'll try to get through this quick because we did talk about it earlier, the Kase-san, truly the name is the Kase-san and ... series, because every book title is different. It's like Kase-san and Morning Glories, Kase-san and Bento, Kase-san and a whole bunch of other shit. But basically the first book is getting adapted into an anime, Kase-san and Morning Glories. They're premiering it in June of 2018. It is going to be an OVA and have limited theatrical screenings in Japan. Early summer 2018. I'm trying to find oh yeah. So here's the thing that I didn't mention before. Mm-hmm. They did like an animated music video that was released with like a special volume of the manga. Kind of like what they did with March Comes In Like a Lion with that Bump of Chicken song. They did I've seen this before. Okay. Yeah, that came out last May. Really good. Really good and really cute. And especially poignant because I watched it after I read the manga, and it's like literally every important point from like the first two or three books. Yeah. So it is directed by a gentleman named Takio Sato, who directed a show that I have not heard of in a while.
Shoujo, that was actually only like a year ago
and it was a Hulu exclusive.
Yeah, that's why nobody watched it.
Girls Beyond the Wasteland.
That was actually, believe it or not, about developing a visual novel.
Yeah, well, it was right. I made fun of it because it was literally the exact same premise as Saikano, and Saikano did it way better. It did fairly well in Japan, but more importantly, he also did Say I Love You, which is a very, very good shoujo series. Yeah. The anime was fine. The anime for that was almost a 1-1 adaptation of the manga, so I would expect similar from them. Yeah, well, from the PV so far, they did release a PV for this, and yeah, the PV looks, I mean, almost identical to what the manga is. Obviously, with
that's what you want as much as you love the manga.
It is. Right. No, I mean it is. It's the designs are a little bit more easily adapted for animation, but not so much that they lose their charm. The designs are very shoujo and very cute in the manga, but it looks like that they have been, sort of simplified a little bit for the anime, which is not surprising because it happens with fucking everything. I'm trying to find out what studio is doing it, but it doesn't say yet, which is weird that they would give me a director. Right. Yeah. Maybe it's the same studio that did the clip. I don't know. Yeah. The director and producer will appear at a talk event at the Yamagata International Documentary Film Festival.
It's Zex. Zex is doing it.
Okay. Yeah. So that's a thing to get excited about. At least I'm excited about it. I have heard, I before reading the manga, had heard basically nothing but universally glowing things about this. And
Zex is a very inoffensive production company too.
Yeah, well, that's what you want, really. Inoffensive and reliable is about all you can hope for a series that doesn't necessarily require some, ridiculously intensive animation. But yeah, I would say go read that manga. I have absolutely no idea when the anime is going to come out here, if ever. Who knows? Because I don't even know what the pipeline for OVAs is like here now.
Fuck if I know. It's like Crunchyroll picks them up, or maybe if we're lucky, we get a disc release.
Yeah, but like OVAs don't even they don't happen outside of either a special manga issue or like a bonus episode for the last Blu-ray in a set for a TV series. So, yeah, it's weird to see just like a straight up theatrical OVA in this day and age that isn't like an ONA, like an original net animation. So just, keep your eyes peeled and keep listening here, because I'll be keeping track of it, and hopefully Crunchyroll picks it up or something like that. Okay, next story, another huge story. So I think it was a couple weeks ago that we first saw Goku's new design from
the new design. Yeah.
The new well, they first announced that there was going to be a Dragon Ball Super movie. I think that was about a month ago.
Surprising announcement ever.
And then they revealed Goku's design, which I didn't think would be that huge of a deal until we realized, oh shit, these are like OG DBZ designs.
Yeah, they're old school and simplified and really good.
Yeah. But they released a trailer that could point to one of the biggest game-changing things to happen in Dragon Ball in terms of how it's animated and how it looks.
You mean how it looks good?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's,
no,
Dragon
the last
Ball,
few episodes of Super looked amazing, but to change those character designs is like changing something sacred. But I haven't seen a word of negativity about it.
No, I think everybody,
which is impressive.
I think
they look better.
The good thing is that this is the right avenue to do it, if anything.
Also, Goku has his power pole.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Goku has his power pole. I would not be surprised to see a return of the Nimbus at some point.
Oh, yeah. We'll probably see a tail or two.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. Yeah, basically it looks to be, sort of going back to its roots. A guy named Tatsuya Nagamine is directing it. I've never heard that name before. Apparently he directed one of the One Piece films.
All those have been pretty damn good.
Yeah, and then Naohiro Shintani is serving as animation director.
That's the big deal. That's the guy that's making it look good.
Yeah, but yeah, basically
Shintani.
All you need to know is go watch the PV and see just how fluidly animated this is, because it is. I will say it's jarring at first, mostly because there are a lot of complimentary things I can say about Dragon Ball throughout its entire life, but it being well animated is never something that I have comparatively, compared to most other things. Dragon Ball is competently animated, but I would never say it's particularly fluidly animated or realistically animated.
It's like one episode every 40 where you're just like, oh shit, that looks good.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But it's not necessarily known for that, whereas like this entire PV is like among some of the most fluid animation I've ever seen in Dragon Ball, and it's really, it just looks really good. Everything looks super different. It doesn't look like Super at all, in terms of just like the effects and the colors and like even the way the lines look. Like everything is much thicker. It looks honestly more true to like Toriyama's original. Like if you were to go back and read some of the first issues of DBZ, some of the first volumes, it looks way closer to that, especially Goku's design than what Super looked like.
Shintani is one of those guys, if you've listened to previous episodes, you've always heard me talk about how Toei keeps like their young animators locked up working on children's shows, and occasionally they get to see the light of day.
Yeah.
Once they're good. Well, this is Shintani's. I wouldn't say it's big breaking out because people know about him, but this is... Right. I mean, it's his first direction role, but boy, is he ready. You can go on Sakagaburo and look at his stuff and be like, oh, this looks good. And you can kind of see just in just like the bounciness of the movement, he's already all over the place with it.
Yeah.
So I hope the whole thing looks that good. Oh boy.
Another piece of news that I totally did not realize until reading this article. Is Goku's Seiyu name Masako Nozawa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that
all
lady.
right. I don't know why I didn't recognize that name for a second.
Yeah.
There is going to come a day when they are going to have to recast Goku.
I don't want to think about it. That's why she was joking, but it's also kind of not a joke, saying she hopes Super returns sooner rather than later because she might not be around.
Yeah.
This lady is old. I want to say she's over 80.
And she's doing a
God,
lot
it's
of work.
Impressive.
It's crazy.
Like, she still sounds exactly like she did, 20-something years ago.
It's also crazy, too, because like a really unfortunate fact of just working in the anime industry in general, but especially being a Seiyu, a lot of them don't live long lives. It's I feel like every year we have like between 5 and 10 people that are very well known in the anime industry. Like fucking last year, Bulma's voice actress died just out of nowhere, and she was like 56. Yeah. Like it just happens so much, and it's and a lot of it is just like the most devastating part of it is a lot of people that work in anime die young, and it terrifies me.
Yeah, she's 81. Like healthy as a fucking ox from everything I've ever heard, but I mean, if she's 81 and still recording Goku, she's probably doing all right, because that's not exactly an easy voice to do.
Yeah. The really funny thing to me that I always think about when I remember that Dragon Ball Super is actually on Crunchyroll is I think it was the first year that I went to Anime Expo. We went to the Crunchyroll industry panel, which is or not industry panel, was like behind.
It was like
behind
the scenes thing. It was one of the women that at the time was doing the licensing. I think it was Tefako. I know she lives over there, and it was somebody else from the web team. I think it was Miles. Actually,
it was like the marketing director, Evan Minto, Tiffany.
Tefako is what she goes by online.
Yeah, and like one of their UI design people.
Yeah.
Basically just giving an idea of like how they got their jobs and stuff. But the really interesting part, or the really funny part looking back on it now, was somebody was like, okay, what are the chances of you guys ever getting Dragon Ball? And she was basically just like 0. It's just not.
I think what she said was, we have about as likely a chance as all of us collecting the Dragon Balls and wishing for it.
Which is hilarious because
looking
now,
back.
Looking back,
it was very different back then. Crunchyroll was like maybe half the size it is today. Toei wasn't really doing licensing apart from, occasionally a One Piece movie coming out via Funimation.
Yeah.
So it was, and they weren't really doing streaming. I think at that point, the only thing that they had allowed to be streamed was very small Digimon properties. I think Netflix had like the first Digimon adventure or something like that. So back then, it was different, and just the landscape changes very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to be happening in a couple of years?
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Billy's going to take over.
Tencent is just going to be showing us all of our anime.
Whatever. As long as it's good.
Yeah. Hey, a little show called Mob Psycho 100 is getting a second season.
I was about to fillet you a bit and make your 200 joke, but I'm not giving you that.
No, it was a bad joke.
Yeah, the writing for that was kind of on the wall because I've talked about that in One Punch Man quite a bit, but I'm glad, unlike One Punch Man, we're getting the same staff in studio.
Exactly.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. So this all, kind of, there was a quickening because Crunchyroll got the Reagan OVA, like the day before this happened, which I refuse to believe was not a coordinated thing.
Oh, no, that was on purpose.
Yeah. But yeah, basically they announced on an event a couple Sundays ago that, Mob Psycho 100 is getting a second season with all of the same staff. One, the mangaka behind is just, going to be involved once again. And I think his in-depth involvement in that series was one of the reasons why it was so cohesive, I think, because he really had a lot.
True one of the endings.
Yeah. Yeah, he did the fucking like Tsuchinoko, the thing where they hunt the Tsuchinoko, which is hilarious. The weirdest thing to me still is that they're making a J-drama of it, and it looks terrible. Like, have you seen any of the like poster designs?
I have, but honestly, like I've gone full circle on J-drama. Like over my last trip, I've come to like really enjoy most of those adaptations. It's completely different than stateside stuff, and it's a different form of acting. But I
yeah,
tend to
I mean,
enjoy
like
them
I've
more
seen
often than
plenty
not.
of J dramas that I like. It's just like
I'm down, make it zany as fuck, and I'll watch it.
just, it's like if you're gonna make an adaptation of a thing and then you release a poster that looks like the fucking Transformers poster, like you're not really. It doesn't really look like you're like making an effort to try to capture the spirit of Mob Psycho. But also,
We'll
like
see.
Mob Psycho is maybe the last anime that I would ever adapt outside of anime because
Yeah.
it is. The reason why it's good is because it is anime and it's because it's fucking weird as hell. So yeah, I don't know.
After having seen Blazing Transfer Suit and all the effects work they do with the dumb shit in that, I think they can make Mob Psycho a lot of fun. I think it'll be more funny and it'll probably drop some of the serious stuff. But for live action, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that I'm just no interest outside of anime because Mob Psycho is so fucking. It's good. I don't want to watch it if it doesn't have oil on glass. But yeah,
God,
so
yeah, life will be good if we get another one of those.
we will. There's no fucking way that they're not going to do that again. That shit was amazing. Speaking of amazing, fuck, it's just like one after the other here now. Vinland Saga is finally getting a TV anime by Wit Studio of all people.
That's a good thing.
That's maybe the biggest story for me personally in here, considering how I am
This
about
has been a long time coming.
a very long time coming. So, for those of you who don't know, Vinland Saga is a long-running. I want to say it's a seinen series.
Yeah, I'd call it seinen. It's like right on the border.
Yeah, by Makoto Yukimura, who is the mangaka behind Planetes. That's like his one other giant work, but Vinland Saga arguably is much huger than that. It is a historical sort of fiction manga about Vikings. And basically,
I haven't read it, so I'm letting you run with this.
yeah, it's basically about it's set during the Viking conquests of Great Britain. Specifically revolves around King Canute the Great and sort of his reign and his father's reign before him, and follows the life of Thorfinn Karlsefni, who was like an actual, I think was at least an actual person in history, but basically follows a fictionalized account of his life from like basically infanthood all the way until at least currently. He's like, I want to say like early to mid 20s in the manga. But basically for this anime, we're probably going to be seeing the first arc. And let me tell you, it's real fucking good. And I cannot wait to see this. But yeah, I mean, obviously we don't really have any other, I mean, this is literally the initial, this is the initial announcement.
Yeah.
So they didn't really announce any staff or anything other, and they didn't even put out like a real PV. It's just like a
No, it
bunch
was
of images
hey,
from the
we're
manga.
at Anime Japan. Check this out.
Yeah, but a lot of people have been asking me how I feel about Wit Studio adapting it, and I feel like if this was like the era of them doing, like the first season of Attack on Titan, or even like going into them adapting Cabaneri, I would be pretty apprehensive. But I think Wit Studio, since basically Cabaneri on a production side, has showed that they are absolutely more than capable of.
I have no qualms about them ever doing adaptations. Originals, I'm a
Yeah.
little shaky on now.
Yeah, well, that's true. But still, Cabaneri, say what you will about the story, it still was a
Yeah,
fantastic
okay,
looking show. And was consistent throughout.
Yeah,
in terms
anime
of
needs more
production.
makeup supervisors, clearly.
Yeah, well, that's going to be a very important
yeah.
aspect of Vinland Saga, because the faces in Vinland Saga are very particular. I'm super, super, super excited to see what the adapted designs look like, because these are very particular designs. They're very not anime in a lot of ways. They are fucking all like
That's why
Nordic.
it was so popular over here.
Yeah, Nordic
It didn't look
peoples.
like anime.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, it has the opportunity to be among one of the best like period anime ever. And the subject matter is something that anime has never really touched in the way that Makoto Yukimura has done. I mean, he really, and they have a lot of behind the scenes stuff in the like Viz releases of Vinland Saga about like his process basically for like he's done so much research on like what like societal norms and or like what the mechanics of like living in this time were, and you can just tell because it's just so meticulously crafted in the way that you see these people's like everyday lives and like what they have to do to survive and what warfare was like. And I mean, it's definitely got a lot of like very anime aspects of like, the battles are very not super powered, but like people definitely exhibit feats of like superhuman strength at some points. But we're also,
it's a manga. We're here to be entertained.
It's it's done in a very similar way to like the whole Fate thing, where it's kind of blending the legend and the person of each, because like literally everyone that appears in the manga as the central figure is a figure from Norse history. Like we have Thorkel the Tall, and fucking Leif Erikson is a central character in the manga, and he's
I think of Leif Erikson without thinking about SpongeBob.
Yep. Ingle Wingle Durgan.
Yeah.
No, but
exactly.
Leif Erikson is actually he's one of my favorite characters from the manga. But
interesting.
Yeah, and we, like there's certain elements of like myths of like, we don't really know whether or not this person or these people were actually real, but like Yukimura kind of folds them in. Like there's this mythical sort of company of incredibly well-trained, deadly Vikings called the Joms Vikings, who are like kind of like the elite guard of the king and sort of almost like a free-roaming mercenary band. But basically whenever they show up, everyone dies. Like it's just, they're just cool as shit. They wear all black and they just kind of like sail out of the mist and fuck shit up and then ride away.
Alrighty.
It is a super good manga, and I'm very confident in Wit Studios' ability to put out something that looks really good. And I cannot wait to see who the staff is. Honestly, the biggest question for me is who the hell is going to voice all of these characters?
Was there a date on it yet?
No, they don't. It's nothing. Just that it's fall. Happening, and Wit Studios doing it.
Alrighty. To piggyback off of that real quick, another piece of news that wasn't in the list is, and you'll like this, I'm not sure. I feel like I would have heard you talk about this if you saw it. But a manga by Kazuhiro Fujita, the person who did Ushio and Tora, is getting another adaptation by the same people that did Ushio and Tora. And it's another long one. Yeah, it's a 36 episode show.
The same studio or the same staff?
Same studio, but the studio was okay. So going back, like Ushio and Tora as an anime production made 0 sense.
Yeah.
Turns out, like you aren't, it's an old manga from the 90s. Like, why would you do that?
And it was adapted in a way that very much looks like.
Yeah. So it turns out the reason that happened is because Studio Von was created by a guy that just really wanted to adapt these works.
Shit.
So like he straight up said that at Anime Japan because somebody asked, was like, they were like, hey, why did this happen? And he's just like, honestly, I really like Ushio and Tora, and I really like Karakuri Circus, and I wanted to see them adapted, and nobody else was going to do it. So, we talk a lot about the production side of anime, but sometimes it really is just somebody with the connections wants to make something happen.
Now that you mention it, I did see somebody talking about this on Twitter, but I did not know that it was about this. So that is very exciting.
This is Karakuri Circus by the same guy that did Ushio and Tora. This is actually the manga that he did after Ushio and Tora. Ushio and Tora ran until 96. This picked up like 2 months later, and I think ran for 10 years.
Yeah, if you guys have listened to any previous episodes, you will have undoubtedly heard us speak glowingly about Ushio and Tora.
No, it was a good thing, and I'm excited for this. I didn't see that coming.
That's really cool.
Yeah, came out of nowhere, and talking about an older manga. Obviously, Karakuri Circus is a little bit older than Vinland Saga, but talking about that made me go, oh shit.
Well, that's not the only old manga getting adapted news that we have on this list. There's a couple.
It's been a crazy time.
There's been a crazy time for like new adaptations of old stuff. Like obviously, like Legend of Galactic Heroes is happening.
Captain Tsubasa.
Die Neue These. Yeah, Captain Tsubasa. Fucking Banana Fish is getting a new adaptation.
Yeah, the fuck's going on, man?
It's crazy. Well, and speaking of old manga getting adapted, you can't really find older than this. Fucking Dororo by Osamu Tezuka is getting a new adaptation from MAPPA, and I wouldn't have necessarily thought twice about it, but the PV is fucking nuts.
It is
looking.
Super stylistic. I haven't read Dororo. It's not like I've gone back and read all of Tezuka's stuff. I honestly hadn't even heard of it, but seeing that PV and then looking at some of the manga, it's
pretty very stylish, flowy, very sort of like Shinya Ohira looking type of
The idea I get is somebody drawing it with a calligraphy pen and like brush.
Well,
or a brush rather.
Yeah.
With a cover especially.
The key visual is literally like a crow holding an eyeball, and it's all painted with a calligraphy.
Yeah,
brush.
that's how the PV feels too, which is going to be really cool in emotion. It's almost like a Okami type deal.
The music is really interesting too, because it's all like that sort of like traditional, like the type of thing you'd hear at like a shrine or a kabuki event or something like that.
I wonder if we'll hear the kabuki kakegoi. Oh.
Yeah,
I hope so.
But yeah, it's a co-production between MAPPA and Tezuka Pro. Tezuka Productions is like obviously the anime studio that was created to solely adapt Tezuka's works. So it's got some names behind it. Amazon is going to exclusively stream it, which is a bummer. But also, like, if you have a Prime subscription, there's now no reason for you to bitch about Amazon getting exclusivity.
I'm more okay with it now than I was before.
You don't have to pay any more money if you already have a Prime subscription, and Prime subscription is worth it alone outside of the anime. But the first Dororo anime was a 26-episode black and white series in 1969. Which was also adapted by Tezuka Productions, which tells you how fucking old Tezuka Productions is.
Okay, sorry, I just did some research while you were doing that, because it says who's drawing it. It says Tezuka Pro are animating it from Twin Engine. I said, who's Twin Engine? And I looked, and Twin Engine is also the reason that Karakuri Circus is happening.
Really?
So maybe Twin Engine is just like this thing that likes to do old school stuff now.
Like a plan.
Look who's working on Vinland Saga.
Yeah, no, I saw that name earlier, but I didn't know.
Connecting some links here.
Well, here, let me go back to the Vinland Saga story, because it mentioned that.
Yeah,
name.
I think Twin Engine might just be like a parent company. That's
anime production
money.
Company Twin Engine began screaming. Yeah, they're a production company, so they're handling producing the anime.
Okay, yeah, so they're a production.
They're just putting together the.
Interesting, because
committee.
So that's 3 pieces of news we've had that Twin Engine is behind. I guess that's a name we really need to pay attention to now.
Yeah, I guess Twin Engine definitely. Well, I mean, they did planning assistance on Lu Over the Wall. What is Babylon?
I think that's an older thing, isn't it? They also did
animation production by Reveroot.
Their digital animation studio did Blade Runner 2022.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, guys, keep an eye out for Twin Engine, because they're making, as Cardi B says, money moves in the anime industry right now. And yeah, that'll be a name that we'll have to keep an eye on over here, because that's...
Seems like they got pretty good taste.
Yeah. Yeah, they're making some good shit happen. Speaking of, more old anime, or old manga and anime getting adapted, Sunrise is doing a new City Hunter film in
City Hunter was a OVA, wasn't it?
It was there were 2 movies in
they're movies, that's what it was.
late 80s, I want to say.
Yeah, I've seen them. It's just been over 10 years since I've seen them.
Look at that fucking key visual.
Yeah.
So
they're
looking.
super like, they're almost like anime period pieces, not because they take place in a period, but because they look like it.
Oh, I'm sorry. The original 1985 manga inspired 4 television series, 1 anime film, and several video and television specials, including a 2015
specials then.
ADV Films released most of these anime projects in North America, which means they are out of print.
Gone. Yes.
Jackie Chan starred in a 1993 Hong Kong live action film that very loosely adapts the original manga.
That sounds dope.
Yep, I want to watch that. There was also a French live action film.
I knew City Hunter was a big thing.
Yeah, I didn't really know. I had heard the name, but I didn't really know much about it.
I know I've seen at least the movie. It's just been a very, very long time.
Judging simply from the logo for the new film and also the key visual, I can say that it is probably going to be 80s as shit. And
this is some like Megazone shit.
Yeah, I'm super excited for something like anything. Anything modern day that is a 80s period piece that harkens back to like not only that style of animation but also just the time. Yes, please. I would like that. The original 2 voice actors are coming back, which is crazy because they both must be in their 60s now. Kenji Kodama is actually returning. I guess he directed most of the previous City Hunter anime. He's returning as chief director. And Yoichi Kato, who wrote on iCots, Yokai Watch, and Monster Strike the Animation, is writing the script.
Children's shows. City Hunter is decidedly not for children. Huh.
Yeah.
a little bit of more research I've been doing at the same time. So Twin Engine was started by the guy that used to run the Noita Mina block.
Oh,
when it was still
also,
really good, like pre 2014.
That's also
it's all starting to come together and make sense.
Yeah. The teaser video features the song "Get Wild" by TM Network, the ending theme song.
Real?
Yeah, well, that's the ending theme for the original City Hunter anime.
I never put that together. I love that song.
That's great. Yeah, so it looks like they're definitely trying to like make sure that we know that this is going to be like 80s as fuck.
Good.
Which I'm super about. Yeah, because like I didn't know anything about this until I saw the stuff and I was like, oh shit, this looks 80s as fuck. That makes me immediately interested.
It's one of those that I think of when I think of like old school beginnings of anime fans back when it was Japanimation and people were like hand dubbing things. And
there was that one like nationwide fan club. What was it called?
Oh, the one with the magazine. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Back when fanzines were the main way of getting anime news.
Yeah. One of these days, we're going to have to track down somebody from the Tampa chapter of that because Dave Merrill, shout out to him on Twitter. He is doing an incredible job preserving history of anime fandoms past because he was a member of all of them back in the 80s. But on his website, he has a bunch of scans from like those zines and pamphlets that people have sent in. And one of them was from the Tampa chapter of that. So
we could probably do that.
One of these days, we're going to have to track somebody down and talk to them because that
wouldn't be too bad.
That would be very interesting.
See, Miami Mike got tracked down.
I did. Yeah, that's crazy.
So now we know what he did,
and it's especially crazy that it was. It was Anime Nostalgia. Yeah,
it's not Deb
no,
Aoki,
not Deb Aoki. No, it was. I'm so sorry, I can't remember your name, but she runs the Anime Nostalgia podcast.
I even listen to that regularly.
She was the first one to track him down, and then like literally a day later, somebody else like was able to reach him by email, like a YouTuber.
Crazy.
And just like complete separate, but yeah, it was a really interesting story. Go check that out. Just a real quick, not really an aside, but not something that needs a link or an explanation. Crunchyroll added fucking Akira last week.
Yeah, that came out of fucking awesome. Nowhere.
So yeah,
I still have a lot of friends that haven't seen that too.
Like
so stop what you're doing.
At night, yeah, like 9:30 at night. Steven messaged me and was like, I don't know if this is a mistake, but Crunchyroll just fucking uploaded Akira, and I was like, what? And then I watched Akira.
Like that's kind of what you have to do. I started it and then fell asleep. But I mean, I've seen that movie a dozen times.
I posted this on Twitter, but just the idea that Akira being on Crunchyroll will allow at least like one person that hasn't seen it to now see it is amazing because Akira, it's something that doesn't really get talked about too much nowadays simply because all the talking about it has been done. There's not really much else that you could say about it because it is literally one of the greatest anime ever made. It's still like even today, if you know anything about Sakuga, watching that thing is like just butt fuckingly well animated. But yeah, it's if you have for some reason not seen Akira, this is now your chance. It is up on Crunchyroll.
It is your moment.
It is the version that you want to see, which is the Japanese version, and it is incredibly good. Let your mind be blown. Speaking of minds being blown. Or not, because we kind of expected this. But the third season of Sword Art Online, otherwise known as Alicization, was announced for October.
I mean, they hinted at it at the end of the movie, so we all knew it was coming. Yeah. But this is going to be especially interesting. Spoilers for Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
Because this is like the last, I want to say like 6 books have all been Alicization because the story takes place in Kirito's mind. If they do like a new full dive thing that, you know, uses all of your brain and it pretty much slows down time. So he lives like years, like an entire life in the span of a couple weeks. So most of the characters are new and there's enough content.
Like fucking like Mental Chronicles of Narnia shit.
Yeah, pretty much. So a lot of people are thinking it's going to be more than 2 cores, and I would not be surprised. There's enough content to maybe last a year. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would not be surprised if we see something like that. Like 36 seems about right. 26 might be rushing.
It would be kind of crazy if they came out and were like, yeah, this is going to be like a 30 something or whatever episode show.
I'm excited for it too, because it's by far like the most well-written parts of the books because, Reki Kawahara has gotten a lot better at writing in the meantime. Alicization started, I think, about the time he started putting out Progressive, but it's gotten a lot better, and it's more high fantasy, so it's closer to the sword art part than it is anything else.
Yeah.
It's a really, really interesting world that he built, and I mean, Sword Online haters going to hate, but I still fucking love it.
They're always going to hate. It's just
it's enjoyable, and I'm really looking forward to October to see what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh man, I just completely blanked on what I was going to say.
I can talk more about Alice.
I was going to say, I don't really think the reason that there have been such huge breaks in Sword Art Online has been because, I mean, they haven't been waiting for Kawahara to catch up with the books. So I think it's probably highly unlikely that they'll come out and say, oh, we're going to adapt all of Alicization all at once. But I sure would like that. That would be nice.
Yeah. A year of Sword Art. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Plus, like, seeing 2018 A1 adapt SAO is going to be
especially with
nice.
How good Ordinal Scale looked.
Oh yeah,
that
Ordinal Scale was beautiful.
Yeah, that was some good shit.
I mean, you know, and the GGO and the following arcs had their moments, but I'm excited to see what Alicization looks like, because obviously this is like one of the most anticipated arcs of any anime in recent memory. So it'll be interesting to see how much time, like, you know, how much of it do they already, you know, have close to being done? We don't know.
They've been working on it for fucking ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly been a long enough
pre-production, but yeah. When did SAO 2 come out? I don't even know.
It was at least 2 years ago, if not more.
You know what they were waiting for? Arrowhead to come back.
Of course.
That's the same reason Kingdom Hearts 3 wasn't out.
Yeah.
We had to wait for Utada to come back.
Yep. And
gotta
she's
have
back.
the theme music.
They're all back.
The boys are back in town.
The boys are back in town, or the girls are back in town.
The J-pop girls.
They're both the women that we're talking about. So they released a new quadruple S Gridman trailer, otherwise known as Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad Gridman.
As a whole, I enjoy this trailer a lot more. It got me a lot more excited for the show, but I was upset because the music was really building, and then it just the trailer just ended, and I was just like, help. I
am excited about some of these designs.
Yeah,
they look good.
I did not think the designs were going to look like that at all. I was expecting like more Gridman.
Well, yeah. See, the thing that I was expecting was, you know, that initial PV gave you the impression that they were going to take like almost like a cyberpunk approach to Gridman, and this PV gives much more of an impression of a straight adaptation of like the original Gridman style and feel with all new characters. I mean, you obviously like the key visual has a giant kaiju. Even the end of the trailer ends with like the quintessential Tsuburaya Productions thing of the hero growing big. If you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, which is very easy because who the fuck cares about Gridman until this anime is released, hopefully. But this is a new Trigger show. It's being directed by Akira Amamiya, who directed Ninja Slayer and Inferno Cop, and also had a big part in Space Patrol Luluco. Is also just a very talented animator and director in his own right. This is a cooperation or a collaboration between Trigger and the Tsuburaya Company or Tsuburaya Productions. It's the Ultraman. They're the company behind Ultraman. And Ultraman is of the giant hero genre, which as opposed to stuff like Kamen Rider and Power Rangers, Super Sentai and all that stuff where like everybody's normal sized and then they get in a big robot or something. Gridman and Ultraman are like the hero literally just grows to be the size of an actual kaiju and then just beats the shit out of them. And then like with the mecha stuff you get like, especially in Gridman, and if you watch either the original Gridman or the anime short that they did, you'd see like, they get like mecha parts that they can attach and then they just become a mecha. It's a super fucking weird genre of tokusatsu that I know almost nothing about, mostly because Ultraman just seems super goofy most of the time.
That's the best part of it. I hope that it's an anime with a toku charm.
That's the thing that I've been hoping for. I've seen several like anime that were trying to capture the whole tokusatsu.
Yeah, we get one like every other season, and they're never very good.
They're never good.
Was that like Active Raid? Was
Active
that
Raid? Samurai Flamenco had a little bit of that.
Right. Sam Flam was good, but not because it was
of the tokusatsu stuff.
Yeah.
Same reason that why Garo seems great, but it's not because it's
I've heard a lot of good things about Garo. I just never got into it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hear almost universal praise by people who watch Garo, which is granted not that many people, but I
didn't even give it a shot.
Yeah, I hear it's good, but again, not because it is a tokusatsu adaptation. But this PV lets on that it is definitely an anime that is very much trying to capture that look and feel of the original Gridman. I mean, the design that they're showing off in this trailer is very different than the one that they were showing off in the PV, but also looks very fucking similar to the original Gridman. It's a little bit more mecha. It's a little bit more modernized, but I mean, it straight up looks like Gridman. Yeah, I hate the editing in this trailer. It's super anticlimactic. It doesn't build to anything. It doesn't really show you anything exciting. It just kind of is a way for you to, it's a funnel for the new designs and stuff. That being said, the two things I'm very excited about, I really like Gridman and its whole dumb 90s cyber aesthetic and how stupid it is. So I'm very excited to see Trigger's take on that, because that Anime Expo short was awesome.
They're all fans of Toku.
Yeah. And well, if anyone can properly adapt Toku into anime, it's them. But the other thing I'm super excited for is to see these designs animated and like what these characters bring to the table. And more importantly, I'm really excited for Akira Amamiya to like direct an actual anime.
yeah, that's a good point. But I'm wondering, like, I was a little bit worried for a while that we're going to get the bait and switch like we did with Darling in the Franxx,
right,
as far as Trigger's actual involvement is concerned. But with Amamiya directing, I'm less worried. But at the same time, we still have Pomari in production. I don't
keep in mind though, Darling in the Franxx is a collaboration between two animation studios. Tsuburaya Company doesn't have any animation capabilities.
But that doesn't mean that they can't lean on other studios heavily.
That's true. And
it looks like, don't get me wrong, it looks good. I'm excited for it. But I'm still wondering how much is going to be Trigger. But at the very least, we do have Amamiya, who's one of the directorial pillars of Trigger, really working on it.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure Amamiya has wanted to do a quote unquote legit project for a while, because they've kind of let him have free reign over like whatever he wanted to do, and whatever he wanted to do ended up being two of the funniest anime I've ever seen, but also some of the most here's a nice way to put it, experimental visually. So it'll be interesting to see what his directorial style is in such a traditional setting, because obviously I don't think Tsuburaya is gonna like let him do the same bait and switch that we got with Ninja Slayer, So it'll be interesting to see him with the reins pulled in a little bit. But I'm super excited for this, because it's such a fucking weird thing.
It's gonna get some really good pieces of animation out of it. Let's be real. That's something to look forward to.
It's gonna be fucking awesome.
Trigger working on a Toku kaiju thing.
Yeah. Well, like Trigger's whole sensibility when animating that type of like sort of, I mean, you saw it in the Gridman short that they did.
Yeah,
it's so
the bigger
perfect.
the better. Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. But yeah, I mean, the thing that intrigues me the most about this though is why the fuck are they acknowledging the existence of Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, the English, like basically the Power Rangers that Gridman was used to adapt. Why are they calling that? Because
there's
the obvious answer to me.
Weird.
The obvious answer to me is that Trigger loves and respects its Western fans, unlike any other, like to a level, quite unlike any other studio
at the same time,
out there.
Nobody here really knows that thing either.
Yeah,
there were like 3 people in the crowd at AX that knew what they were talking about. Like the one guy yelled out the actual name, and I was just like, "Who are you?"
Yeah, I mean, it is.
I don't know, man.
It's one of those things that
they're giant Westaboos.
Yeah, they are. They like Street Sharks. It's canon.
As far as the SSS and stand for something Street Sharks.
I'm very interested to see why the fuck they decided to do that, and if it is any reason outside of like, hey, we're just giving a shout out to our Western fans, which very well could be what it is. Patrick, do you want to talk about this new Zoid series? Because I don't know shit about it.
There's not a ton to watch or talk about, because we got the PV. Did we even get staff?
I don't know.
I watched the PV, and I mean, the thing that I'm most excited for is Oriental Light and Magic. As far as I know, the only thing they've really been working on for the last decade and a half, aside from movies, is Pokemon. And we have talked at length before about the production differences in Pokemon lately, with them, investing so much into R&D and having their new digital pipeline, which is why Sun and Moon looks so good.
Yeah.
It looks like the majority of this new Zoids is CG though. So I don't know if this is a new subdivision that OLM has. I'm not sure what's going on there. It doesn't look bad. Like, I loved Zoids as a kid, and I'm sure
the new designs look pretty cool.
Yeah, the new Zoids look really cool. The characters look neat. The trailer was fine. I'm not really sure I can say too much on it leading up into summer, but I do love that it's still airing at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
The traditional cool. Zoids time slot.
That's great. Which means we'll get it we'll dinner time evening. Here.
Yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic for it. Like I said, I love Zoids. Who doesn't love robot dinosaurs fighting each other?
Come on.
Again, every Zoids has had a different plot. There's one where it was a tournament. There's one where it was like a fantasy world. Yeah, it's there's a lot you can do with robot dinosaurs.
That's definitely true. There's another story I wanted to bring up on here that I completely just forgot to put on here. Crunchyroll's next anime movie night is the Bungo Stray Dogs movie.
Nice.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of trailers for that when I was in Japan. I think I saw that before every movie.
That is going to be in theaters May 2nd, 5th, and 6th here. That's
a quick turnaround because that came out in Japan like 2 months ago.
It is.
Not even.
And this is something that we thank God that they got it, because this is something that we normally don't see. So it's not a compilation film, thank God. It is a continuation of the story. I think it actually takes place like 5 years after the original series, which is a significant time jump. But I'm super excited because it concerns at the very end of the last series. If you watched Bungo Stray Dogs, the first season is really about they're all characters based on famous Japanese literary authors of the past 100 or so years. The second season introduced the Guild, which is all famous Western authors, fucking F. Scott Fitzgerald was the main villain.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it breathed new life into a show that was otherwise something I was not planning on watching for the rest of it, and I'm fucking really glad that I stuck with it because it ended up being incredible. But at the very end of the last season, they introduced a new faction of Russian classical authors, and
like Tolstoy,
Tolstoy, and I can't remember whoever wrote Crime and Punishment.
Oh, okay.
His ability is literally called Crime and Punishment.
There's Chekhov in there.
I'm
if
sure
his ability
Tolstoy,
isn't named Chekhov's
Chekhov. I'm sure fucking Karl Marx will be in there. Who knows? It's
that is interesting.
Yeah, so that's what the movie is. You said
it's a continuation. So
it is a continuation. That's what the movie is.
I might have to read some cliff notes and check that out because I watched like 2 episodes of the show and I ain't going back. But
I will say
Russian authors is stroking my fancy.
Yeah, the first season is pretty boring. But then the second season starts off with a flashback arc that is easily one of my favorite flashback arcs of any anime that I've seen. It's Dazai's backstory in the Port Mafia.
Yeah, that's tragic as hell.
It's amazing. And then the final 7 or 8 episodes is just the armed detective agency doing battle with all the Western authors. And the Western authors predictably are all it's the same sort of nerd shit as all of the
sounds like Fate.
It's all of it is very similar to Fate, but it's also a little bit more because the abilities are very similar to stands. They all have a lot of them have personified almost like spirits. And so it's the same sort of nerdy type of thing of what did Araki use from this specific band to call back to whatever the name is. Because I can't remember the author, but one of the abilities is Anne of Green Gables, and she's literally just a giant rag doll that sucks you into an alternate dimension and then keeps you in there in a prison.
Sure,
it's fucking really weird. Also, there's an entire episode dedicated to so one of the Japanese authors is Edogawa Rampo, and one of the American authors one of the Western authors is obviously Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh no!
But
I can see where this is going.
But the hilarious thing is in real life, Edogawa Rampo would never exist without Edgar Allan Poe being a thing. Edogawa Rampo is literally a Japanese version of Edgar Allan Poe, and he super looked up to him and Edgar Allan Poe is like one of his heroes. In the anime, it's reversed. Edgar Allan Poe is like a constantly frustrated like protege of Edgar Allan Poe who is constantly trying to like trick him into being framed for murder and like trap, and like his ability is literally like weird. Putting his victims into a mystery of his own design and they have to solve it to get out.
That's pretty neat.
It's great. And it's a whole episode just dedicated to Edgar Allan Poe just being a piece of shit to Edgar Allan Poe. Anyways, that I'm excited for that movie. I can't wait to see it in theaters. It's special. Speaking of special, maybe the most special announcement we have on here.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
So there is a new anime happening called Harukana Receive, which is a women's beach volleyball anime.
This is getting a lot more play on Twitter than I expected. Like, it's not being treated like what the trailer looked like, which was mostly fan service. But damn, those designs look good.
They look really good.
From a fan service point of view and just from a design point of view.
I think it was Kay from Anime is Lit who said that whoever was drawing it definitely knew how fabric stuck to an ass, and she's definitely right.
Yeah, I mean, like watching that trailer, it's very male gaze. I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, and I'm like, I hope this is more than fan service, but at the same time, I'm watching regardless.
Same. I think one of the most interesting things about it to me is it takes place in Okinawa. Yeah. Which is not a very common setting for anime.
I think the last anime I watched that was set in Oki was Cat Planet Cuties.
God damn it, Patrick. I just realized something terrible. The two main girls, their names are Haruka and Kanata.
Haruka Kanata. That's a Japanese saying.
I know, but that's fucking. That's still really, that's awesome. Even just as the saying, that's fucking hilarious.
Anything that's going to give an awful pun like that, I'm so there.
Oh man, this is some Haikyuu shit. Kanata, who couldn't handle the pressure put on her by her short height, had given up on beach volleyball already, but is convinced by Haruka to step back in the sand once again.
Literally Haikyuu on the beach.
It's literally Haikyuu.
Look at the name of the other characters, though. I wonder if we're going to have some U.S. military presence. Oh,
shit. Claire Thomas and Emily Thomas.
Got some sisters. Hopefully, they're probably at like the military school or something.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I mean, this could be so much fun. It could also be god awful.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I'm erring on the fun side.
So this studio is C2C. Have you ever heard of that before?
I think this is going to sound crazy. I think they might be part of Twin Engine now.
That would be hilarious. Twin Engine is just responsible for like this entire.
I've been reading more at the same time, and Twin Engine's idea was to give companies less harsh conditions.
Wow.
So really I mean, they've done a bunch of shorts and worked with Satellite quite a bit. It looks like.
Well, I just completely.
Oh, they did. Yeah, they did Suka with Satellite. It looks like their last 4 projects have been with them, and the only things they've done that weren't co-productions were shorts. So looks like it's their first major solo.
Everybody's gotta have a first one. These character designs
are already.
It might be.
Yeah, look at this. It's been running in. Oh, it's gonna be good. It's from Manga Time Kirara. Those are always good. They have never once failed me. New game, Gochiusa, fuck me up. Perfect. That means I got to start reading this. God, the manga art's really good too. Yeah, this is something to be excited with. The first 2 volumes will be out in July and October in English. Awesome. At 7 Seas, right? 7 Seas, yep. Yeah. I knew I read something about that. This is full of good shit. Yeah. I really wish I recognized any of these character design credits. Go back down. One-chan ga kita. That was the short that they did. It was fine. Tenchimuyo Ryo Oki. Oh, that was the Tenchimuyo thing that happened like 2 years ago. Euromates Sunday? We don't need to talk about that. Okay. It's 3-day. Oh, 3-day. Euromates was fine. It was a silly CG thing. All right. Well, Toshiyuki Kuboka. Anyways, these last 2 names on here sound like Okinawan names. Ayasa Tachibane and Akari Oshido. Holy shit, Kanai Ito. Oh, she's one of my old school favorites, and the only thing she's been in over the last 3 years, I think, is Sword Art Online and Free Vara. She's Yui, the fairy in Sword Art
Oh,
Online.
shit. Nice. That'll be fun.
That doesn't sound like her normal voice, though. She's
Right.
normally a lot cooler, for lack of a better way to say. Like, she's got one of those cool Onechan voices.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super fucking excited for
Yeah,
that.
now I'm pumped. Like, I was just like, oh, this looks cool. Now I'm like, fucking hell, let me see this anime.
Yeah. One thing I forgot to put on here. So we definitely haven't talked about it on the podcast yet. But
I fucking knew it. Music by Rasmus Faber.
Oh,
I wanted to
shit.
say, I was just like, it kind of sounds like him. It's got that feel, but it might be somebody copying him. Yeah. Even more excited.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No wonder that
I thought
music's
it was
so
him.
good.
Yeah.
Shit. Man, I've been waiting for him to come back with an anime.
This is the most summer anime thing I've ever seen in my life.
God damn.
Hanebado.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I've been meaning to put this on the news list here, but
Is there new news?
they last month they announced a premiere date for Hanebado. So Hanebado is a adaptation of a girls badminton manga, sports manga, and let me see who the studio.
Oh, that was
is.
the one with the crazy good-looking trailer where there's no way the anime is going to look that good. It's just not possible.
Yeah, well, never say never, but it is
I'm
not.
saying never.
Leiden Films is adapting it.
All right.
Taku Kishimoto, who did the adaptations of Haikyuu and Erased, is doing the scripts. And that's no wonder the music sounds so good. Tatsuya Kato of Free Love and Love Live Sunshine.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
That means it's going to be scored.
That means it's going to sound very good. But yeah, the PV looked fucking awesome, and I can't wait because all the character designs look really good. Also looks pretty gay, not gonna lie. These two main girls,
They're
looking.
girls playing badminton, probably.
Yep. But premiering in October.
Oh, October.
Yeah,
Cool.
so it is a fall
we
anime.
got some interesting sports things coming.
We really do. Girls sports anime is a thing that is starting to sort of rise a little bit.
When are we getting the Haikyuu girls team?
Seriously,
Like,
holy
give me
shit.
that spinoff.
Give
right
me
now.
that right now. I don't care if it has to be anime original. Just give me that. Give me like a 4-part ONA and give it to Netflix.
No, maybe they'll get a cameo in Hurricane Receive.
If only.
And they
You
go
see
on a
them in the
school
crowd.
trip, and it's perfect.
Speaking of girls things, Cutie Honey Universe is a thing that's happening this coming season.
Okay, real quick before we get into this, did you see that Magical Girl Ore came out?
Is that the
one where it's like a big beefy guy?
Yeah.
So
I
the
didn't
whole
see that it
thing,
came
I
out.
saw the first 2 episodes came out early, and they're lampooning like Magical Girls really, really hard. And the 2 main characters in it are like idols, and the first song that they do, that they like start the show with, that they perform, is a straight rip on like the Cutie Honey theme. And I'm sitting there, it's just like,
That's awesome.
It's like transposed a key and slightly different, and I'm just sitting there in my head, I'm going, Honey Flash, like at the end, and they made it something different. It was like Cherry Flash or something. I'm just like,
that's
God
great.
damn it. That show's
So-
awful though, don't watch it.
Something that I discovered between the last time we talked about this and whenever that was on the podcast, and now is, so they're doing something with this series that Cutie Honey has, to my knowledge, at least never done. And so part of really the main feature of Honey's abilities is that she can transform into different costumes. Although in this series, it looks like it's just like straight up different women. And the reason why I say that is, of course, Maya Sakamoto is voicing the main Honey Kisaragi or Cutie Honey. But we also have a, let me say, insane list of female seiyuu that are each voicing a different one of Cutie's forms.
This isn't
So
a cutie, but Ho-chan is really good.
yeah. So let me just get through this. Yeah. I'll get to the rest of the voice cast in a second because it's fucking insane. Come on. Okay, here we go. So this list is so
I forgot how
fucking
good
insane.
it was.
Maya Uchida, Tomio Kurosawa, Kana Hanazawa, Yukari Tamura, and Suzuko Mimori.
Yukarin's my favorite one.
It's
already.
It's
I bet I could guess which is which.
It's in order. We have Hurricane Honey. This all sounds like the Spice Girls. Fancy Honey, Flash Honey, Misty Honey, and Idol Honey. Misty Honey is a fucking flight attendant.
Right. Idol Honey has to be Yukarin.
Yeah, clearly. But anyway, they revealed basically the entire voice cast now, and a lot of them are names that I don't recognize, but who I do recognize.
Most of them are older.
Yeah. Yu Kobayashi is playing Miharu Tsuneni, who is the strict superintendent of the St. Chapel dormitory. Her nickname is Histler.
Oh no! See, I liked this because the way I saw it first announced on Twitter was it was just images of these 4 characters with the names of the women playing them underneath, and I immediately knew just from the design, oh, that one's Kobayashi.
Yeah.
Like no question.
Also joining the cast is Romy Park as Naoko, who is like a giant, thick eyebrowed gang leader, like.
Yeah, you might remember Romy Park as like
fucking
Edward
Ragyo
Elric.
or Ragyo Kiryuin in Kill la Kill.
She's all over the place.
She's got some fucking range, man.
Whoa,
but yeah,
did that say Minoru Shiraishi? Go back up.
Yep.
Oh
Alpha,
my god.
Teacher at St. Chapel.
So Minoru Shiraishi is he kind of faded into obscurity, but he's most famous for playing himself in Lucky Star. Yeah.
All right.
He's the guy that also did like all the dumb dances for the ending themes. So it's always like it's going to be a fun production if he's around.
This is going to be so fucking fun to watch. I can already
It's going to be a joy. Yeah. It's Cutie Honey like come on.
It's fucking Cutie Honey, man. And it's
all these actors are old school as fuck.
Yeah. Yui Horie, Shintaro Asanuma, Atsuko Tanaka is fucking Sister Jill, which will be awesome. Sister Jill is the design I always point people to, because like Cutie Honey is definitely the least Go Nagai looking of the 3 main Go Nagai properties. But then as soon as I point to Sister Jill, I'm like, hey, here's Devilman Lady. I mean Sister Jill.
Yeah.
Like she literally is the most Go Nagai ass looking. Reik Kugimiya.
Is she another spider lady? She did one of those in Precure not that long ago.
Sister Jill's servant, Tarantula Panther.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting because I think this is definitely a much more like direct adaptation of the manga.
Oh, definitely.
So people like me who are mostly familiar with Cutie Honey from like Gainax and Anno's sort of take on it, like the 4 like different colored claw subordinates. I don't think they're going to be showing
Cutie
up in
Honey,
this.
like the closest thing I can relate Cutie Honey to, honestly, is that we've seen recently is Time Bokan has been on Crunchyroll. Nobody's watching it, but it's got a very old school like Time Bokan, like old school Gotcha Man feel.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Very similar to old Tatsunoko.
It'll be incredibly interesting to see which way they play this, because Cutie Honey has 2 opposing and competing sides, I would say. The very like male gaze fan servicey side, and then the incredibly like, it's like any Go Nagai property. It's got a lot of weirdly fan servicey sexual,
a lot of empowerment.
Yeah, and then on the other side, it's got a lot of empowerment and also a lot of like gay shit. Like Cutie Honey regularly engages in lesbian relationships with many female characters throughout her history. So it'll be super interesting to see which way they play it. My guess is probably both. Probably both ways.
Probably. That's for the best.
Just judging on the PV, probably both ways, because that transformation sequence looks gay as shit. I'm just saying.
Also looks good as shit.
It does look good as shit. And then finally, at least the last story we have on this list, DN Angel's coming back. Patrick, I don't know shit about DN Angels.
Yeah,
So
it's been around me since I started. It was popular when I first started getting into anime manga, or mid 2000s, and a lot of my friends read it, but I actually don't even know what it's about.
Well, let's take a look at this ANN article to see if we can find out.
Yeah.
The original manga story centers on a 14-year-old boy named Daisuke Niwa, who tries to declare his love to the girl of his dreams, but fails. Instead, whenever he thinks about the girl, he transforms into the legendary phantom thief known as Dark Mousy. Boy,
sure.
This sounds anime as fuck.
No, the few things I know about it is that it was really popular with both men and women, or boys and girls, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
It was more for the
response to it coming back on Twitter was crazy.
It was people's childhood coming back. It was the starter for a lot of people. It was one that I always saw people reading in the hallway, in the aisle at Borders. That was a big part of it. It was part of
Tokyo
that crew.
Pop joint.
Yeah, exactly. Anybody around our age, has definitely heard of it. I'm wondering if it's going to be a continuation though, because from my understanding, it didn't really end. Like it was just a shitty cliffhanger, the manga and the anime. So I wonder if we're going to get like a shortened version of what came before and the whole thing, because I mean, it's been how many years? Returned 2008. So it's been 10 years.
Yeah. So But yeah, this is a
Do we even know if
continuation
this
of
is
the
an
manga.
anime yet?
No. It's a continuation of the manga.
Of the manga, okay.
Yeah. May issue of Kadokawa's monthly Asuka magazine revealed.
Okay, so it is a
that
continuation.
Manga is returning.
Well, I for one hopes that this spawns an anime project as well.
It'd be interesting to see what that would look like in, 2019 or beyond.
What else runs in monthly Asuka? I don't even know the name of that
Bunch
magazine.
of Sugisaki, the mangaka's shit.
Sure.
1001 Nights, Lagoon Engine Einsatz.
I don't know any of these.
Yeah.
Let me see if
No
anything
clue.
else is.
Hey, Patrick, here's
Yeah.
a thing that I wanted to ask you about. Have you read any of Dr. Stone?
No, what is
You know
that?
what that is? It's apparently one of the new hot Jump properties right now.
I have been very far behind on Jump because ever since
Let me
I
just show you the
changed
covers.
phones, I used to, because the way Viz and their online, I like how a bunch of doctor practices
Yeah,
just
I
came out. The way Viz does their online thing for Jump is they release like a volume of Jump, like
Yeah.
one of the weekly things.
The art
Oh, that looks cool.
really good.
Yeah,
I
that's
see,
that's the case with a lot of Jump projects. But honestly, I've been burned so many times
I know,
with
yeah.
Jump stuff that I try not to get into them until they're a year old and still going strong, because the chances of something getting axed in the first 30 chapters very high.
Yeah, the one mark of positivity that I've seen about this, because not that many people in the West are reading it yet, is Minovsky Particle on Twitter. Like, it was one of his recommended.
I generally agree with his taste.
Yeah, I mean, he's the reason why I started reading Vinland Saga, and I have not regretted that decision once. But he had nothing but good things to say about Dr. Stone.
Because I switched phones. I got off my iPhone probably a year and a half ago, and I just never re-downloaded the Viz app. So I should probably do that, because I know I also need to catch up on Promised Neverland.
Yeah.
It
It
heard
seems
nothing but
like a
amazing things
super
about.
interesting premise.
It looks very shonen. Is it just like
like every
like a shonen battle with rocks? Like
no, like everybody in the world turns to stone, and these two boys have to like figure out how the fuck to get it back. At least that's what it's been sold to me as. Let me see if I can find a plot synopsis here, because I'm pretty sure it is.
Without spoilers, because honestly, I'm probably going to go home and start reading it, because that's what I do.
Yeah,
I've been paying
you
for
have to let me
Viz
know
for a year and haven't.
Here, let me just
like
my
actual
anime
Wiki
list.
pages. Yeah.
Science fiction adventure follows two boys struggle to revive humanity after a mysterious crisis has left everyone in the world turned to stone for several millennia.
So it's not a new problem.
No, yeah. It's like the two things that obviously the premise is super weird sounding, but honestly the art has just been super striking to me every time I've seen it.
Okay, so I was wondering, it is part of a Viz's Jumpstart program where there's Jump starts a new series like at least once a month, normally more often, and only the promising ones get sent over here for Jumpstart. So cool. Yeah, that means that it's available legally, so I will probably get on that tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that it is a fairly new series. So
but at the same time, I think the only Jumpstart one that I've read that's continued past 20 chapters is Promised Neverland.
Yeah.
Which is also really good.
I'm crossing my fingers for this, because it looks pretty cool. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter recommend it, so that's.
Do you know how far into it we are? Like a couple weeks, like 10 chapters?
No, I think they said the first. I have to look it up again. Sorry.
Use that Control-Shift-T. Close that last tab. Reopen. Yeah, I'll get on it. Who's it by? Have they done something before?
Riichiro Inagaki did the story, and Boichi did the art. Boichi, don't recognize any of these manga. Terraformers Gaiden Asimov, Trigun Multiple Bullets. I don't know.
Well, I just looked up
Space Chef Caesar. That sounds fucking awesome.
I just looked up that monthly Asuka from the last story, and it seems like it's
this is the iShield 21 writer.
I'm in.
All right. That's all I needed to see.
I'm in. I loved iShield 21. The manga was so good.
Man, I don't even know what this is about, but Alpha Centauri Dobutsen is a fucking awesome name.
Dobutsen is a zoo. So Alpha Centauri Zoo.
So humans in an alien zoo. Cool. That's what I'm. It's.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of the dark episode?
I'm down.
All right. Well, talking about welcome to Ono Manga.
It's an adjacent property.
Yeah. Dr. Stone, I hope that succeeds because it looks pretty cool. And also, yeah, I like that writer a lot.
I want to see a crossover where all of the football players and nobody else return from being stoned.
They all just fucking body a bunch of stone people and just break them apart.
Yeah.
Just find all the bad people in the world.
Oh, jeez.
Fucking Gronk tackle them. Office linebacker.
It says several millennia. Why are they there? Were they like stoned previously? And now they're not
I
stoned?
probably am going to read this too.
Dude, Viz is worth it. It's like, it's like $30 for a year or something dumb. Like it's cheap, and I read a lot more manga than you, and I found it worth it. I found it so worth it that I haven't used it in a year and a half, and I'm still paying for it.
Well, Viz is
Viz does good work.
They do good work. I don't really have a lot of bad to say about really anybody who licenses manga in the States,
right?
Other than those people that have had like the exclusive Tezuka rights for like 15 years.
Yeah,
they like ran that Kickstarter and then it just failed, and then they just kind of folded. Yeah, I can't remember what they're called, but they suck.
You always got to have somebody to ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess Tokyo Pop isn't that person anymore.
Robot Carnival came out on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it
and
did.
Sold out in like a matter of hours on Right Stuff. That's pretty dope.
That
Good
was
job.
Another Kickstarter thing, wasn't it? Or
I want to say it was
sort of like weird.
I didn't like. I expected Discotheque to sell out of stock. I just didn't expect them to sell out of stock in less than a day.
People want that Robot Carnival, man.
It's a good
I also
thing.
don't know how big their initial wave is because Discotheque is a pretty small.
Oh, they seemed surprised on Twitter when they announced that it was sold out already.
Yeah,
they were just like, "Oh, we need to fix this." Whoops.
Robot Carnival is really good. Now, it'd be awesome. Is based on the success of this, they released Neo Tokyo, and then they re-release Memories. And then we will have all Katsuhiro Otomo's side projects all on Blu-ray. That would be nice.
Discotheque in the mix, like you can't rule any of that out.
No, they're really good.
Some neat shit.
They do basically only neat shit.
That's true.
And then they do Samurai Pizza Cats, but that's another story.
Samurai Pizza Cats is actually the picture in the dictionary under the definition of neat shit.
They're true. They are actually the
close.
sole rights holders for home video release in the States for Lupin the Third, and are releasing Part 4, that new one.
Time to make some money.
Yeah, they're releasing. Hey. Speaking of news,
new Lupin.
We got a new Lupin series coming out. We'll cover that more, I think, in our season preview, which will be coming soon-ish. Emphasis on the ish.
We'll try to get it out reasonably within the beginning of the season. Don't expect it before the season, though.
Yeah, they put it. They put up a new PV for Lupin Part 5, and it looks super weird and interesting. It looks like very like hacky technology based.
I hope it doesn't take 16 weeks into a new Lupin for it to show up on streaming sites this time.
Yeah, it won't. I think Crunchyroll has already announced that they have it from the beginning. And I think the only reason that happened with Part 4 is because it aired in Italy before it aired in Japan, and there was and actually speaking of Discotheque's release, I'm just now remembering I saw a Twitter post from them regarding this. So Part 4's rights are super fucking weird considering how there's two versions of it. There's the Italian version with the Italian soundtrack and the I think like there was an Italian dub, and then there was the Japanese version with the Japanese dub, and the I want to say his name is Yuki Ono. He's the guy that's done all the Lupin music. Yeah, his soundtrack, which was a lot better. So they are releasing the Lupin Part 4 that they're releasing now is because of the stipulations of their licensing agreement with the Italian license holders. Okay. They're releasing a English dubbed version of it now with the Italian soundtrack. And then they said later this year they will be releasing the Japanese version with the Japanese audio and music.
God, licensing is just so weird.
It's super fucking weird. But also the whole production of that series was super strange.
This is a huge tangent, but going back, I remember reading an article, like a long form article recently about who originally licensed Dragon Ball Z for TV in the States.
Oh fuck! You could not. You could put a gun to my head right now, and I would be able to tell you.
Do you remember how it had all original background music and all original themes?
Yes.
Dragon, block the.
Yeah.
That's how they made most of their money.
How could I forget Rock the Dragon?
Yeah. So that's how they made most of their money was through syndication and charging people for rights to that music.
Damn.
Which is why like all those old school like 4Kids stuff had different soundtracks, because that's where the moneymaker was.
Damn.
Which is insanity to me, but that just goes to show how crazy licensing is.
I still think it's super fucking cool that so obviously those original versions of DBZ had a different dub, all different dub cast, and there was an episode of Super recently where Vegeta got cloned, and the cloned Vegeta was the original Vegeta's English voice actor, which is the coolest shit. Like, what an awesome nod to that original series.
Yeah, that's really fantastic.
Really
I love
awesome.
when they do dumb
and
shit like that.
He sounded great.
Oh, yeah.
He sounded fucking fantastic.
Really good.
I was like, shit, he also sounds like Vegeta. Like, no shade to Chris Sabat, but he also sounds like Vegeta. So, yeah, it's licensing fucking sucks.
News. This is kind of news. Super ended.
Yeah.
And
it was a huge fucking deal.
Yeah,
in,
it was also
Latin America.
Really good. That was actually all those big streams were the penultimate episode.
Oh, right,
because that was billed as the big fight between Goku and Jiren.
Yeah.
But it was like, if you've been sleeping on Super because you're like, here's the thing. I had hopes for Super to be good, and I really wanted it to be good. One thing I never thought it would be able to do was feel like Dragon Ball Z, but those last few episodes, I felt like I was 12 every episode. Like I was sitting there like staring at it. Like if Goku was trying to do a spirit bomb, I would have raised my arms to fucking help him. Like I was a kid again, and that exceeded all of my expectations for Super.
I watched the clip, like the ending of their fight versus Jiren, and it was insane. And just
so good.
Just seeing Goku and Frieza of all people fighting again, like with each other, is so
awesome.
crazy.
And then 17 hopping in, like, oh my god, yeah, it was really.
I need to find one of those sites that can just give me like the essentials, you know, like
I just wait for another recap movie.
I do want to watch it before the Super.
You know what I suggest you do is because you're one of the people that doesn't like the Japanese voices at all. Right?
I don't care either way.
Watch the dub as it's coming out.
Yeah, no, that was my plan because I still have my Funimation account.
Yeah, the dubs like I think it's like 60, 70 episodes behind, but it's not at the point where you can't catch it.
Well, that's good because I did end up starting it like after the Battle of Gods and Resurrection F arcs were over, and watched a couple episodes and then just kind of fell off.
Was that the Goku Black arc, or
it was the one before that? I think
tournament maybe.
Tournament, yeah. Or like the beginnings. I don't even got to the tournament.
Well, the nice thing about watching the dub is you can throw it on in the background and you don't have to read.
That's true. That is very true, actually.
That makes it a lot easier to watch 160 episodes of something.
It does feel more natural, too, for me, just because it's, it's just what I'm used to. But
I watched my fair share of purple videotaped Dragon Ball Z episodes when I was a child, so I kind of knew the voices already.
Did you see that clip of Future Trunks that everybody was passing around? Don't shoot! This man is not black. Like, what the fuck?
I was wondering how they were going to.
I saw someone on Twitter that just posted "This man is black not," and I fucking laughed my ass off.
No, it's really funny because in Japanese it's Black Goku.
Yeah.
So it's just like, well, we can't do that.
Yeah.
So it's Goku Black in English.
I love the like weird Spanish language meme of Gohan Blanco.
Oh my god, it's the
I don't
greatest.
even know what that meme is. I just love the idea of a character named Gohan Blanco.
My favorite part of that is that somehow Shaggy from Scooby-Doo got implicated. Have you seen those? Like so you know how Ultra Instinct Goku has like the weird glowy shit?
I've been so distracted by the Goku pouring lean memes.
My god.
Those are my favorite fucking things. Someone posts that like every day on my Twitter, and I see it and laugh my ass off.
Yeah, like adjacent to Trunks Blanco is like I keep on seeing Shaggy with like the Ultra Instinct like aura around him, and I'm just like, what is going on?
Why is Shaggy
There's
there?
like videos of him like superimposed over Goku beating up Jiren, and it's just like,
God,
I don't understand.
Jesus,
the internet is a wild place normally. When you mix in
internet's bad.
Dragon Ball and its worldwide fandom, you just get some shit.
Dragon Ball, certainly worldwide fandom. Those videos of like thousands of people in like the city squares across Latin America.
I think it was Lima in Peru had like it was something like 12,000 people show up to a city square to watch it. Holy shit! Talk about hype. What other anime could do that?
I saw posters of them in Mexico promoting it.
Yeah, it looked like an MMA fight.
Yeah, Goku versus Jiren, like a fucking boxing match.
Like
so cool.
What other anime would have the ability to do something like that? I'll give you a hint. There ain't none. As Dragon Ball.
No, I mean, in terms of its popularity in Latin America, Dragon Ball is definitely number
The only
one.
thing I could think of is maybe if this Captain Tsubasa is good, we could see that in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's true.
The Middle East loves Captain Tsubasa.
Yeah. Well, we are at least going to be seeing it in the 2020 Olympics because Captain Tsubasa is one of the anime mascots.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
What a world we live in.
Anime, we keep saying it, but anime is only getting more popular, and I don't see it.
Thanks, Kim K.
It's as someone I heard somebody say the other day, just like anime is normal.
Yeah,
it's
that
like
hit me
a
hard.
commonplace thing in American society now.
I went into a Hot Topic for the first time in 15 years last Saturday, and literally half of Hot Topic is anime now, and it's not even bad anime merch.
It's all like, anime and wrestling now. That's all Hot Topic is.
Like it looked good. It was good merch. It was licensed. Like
they have like one cracked jewel case with a red jumpsuit apparatus CD in the back. That's the last vestiges of Hot Topic. It's the only thing remaining to anchor it to this earth.
It was crazy to me because I knew that. Like I had seen the news. Oh, Crunchyroll and Hot Topic. But until I see it, I'm just like, wow, all right.
It's wild. It's fucking wild.
Anime is normal.
Also very smart on their part, considering how like that sort of like brand of fashion was going absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, and they predated anime getting like more mainstream because I remember the first time I saw them doing shit, it was with Miku.
Yeah, I own a Space Dandy shirt from like what 2014, 2015, something like that.
I think they did Miku stuff in like 12, 13.
Yeah, they've been ahead of the game on that stuff. But also like there's crossover with those clientele bases. Yeah. So. But
what a world.
Yeah, we live in a crazy time, folks. Definitely the craziest time for anime ever. there's never been a better time to be a weeaboo.
We're about to get more fully coy. The fuck's up with that, man?
It's crazy. It makes me wonder if that can happen. What the fuck else is going to happen? But before the year is out,
there's no telling. But if you stick by and listen to our podcast, we'll let you know. There really is no
like we say, the 15 of you that regularly listen to our podcast, you'll be so informed after listening to this episode.
The last one had like 60 views, okay?
That's true.
I have not looked at our listener stats in a while. YouTube stats I look at. Listener stats?
It's not much different than YouTube.
Well, I assume there's no overlap, so that's nice.
It's about double.
Usually. So leave us a rating on iTunes.
Yeah, we kind of never say that. But yeah, actually, if you
for real though, ratings on iTunes boost your visibility an incredible amount, and I think we have 2 ratings. So
yes, if you want to leave us a rating and a review and stuff, that would be cool. Other than that, you can find everything we do at onoanime.moe or onoanime.com. We're on YouTube.
We like you more if you go to Moe though.
Just search. Actually, you know what? Just search Macross on YouTube, and we'll be like the third.
Yeah, right.
We'll be like the third result. And obviously, we're on Twitter at OnoAnime, Facebook.com/OnoAnime. We're on Instagram, but we never fucking use that, so you don't need to worry about that. I'm on Twitter at Vermillionaire with a 3 for the last E.
Mine's a lot easier to remember. I'm at Patrick130M. That's my birthday, by the way. If y'all want to send me gifts in next year.
In next year.
In a lot of months.
In many months.
I don't math.
Almost another year.
I don't math. I had a long day.
I'm trying to think if we have anything else to promote. I mean, really, the next thing you look forward to is our season preview. That's going to be coming soonish.
It'll be coming online week and a half or so.
Yeah. And yeah, it's going to be a big one because there's a lot of anime next season.
Dumb.
Yeah. And we'll probably have an episode once the preview comes out.
I almost feel like we should do season preview before season end.
Maybe.
I know that's backwards, but
we'll work that off. We'll work that out off mic.
Yeah. I have a crazy couple weeks coming up too.
Yeah. All right, folks. That is going to do it for us here. Go to all those links that we listed, obviously, in the description of this video and/or podcast. Down here, smash that motherfucking like button.
I hate this.
Yeah. Top of the morning to you and all that. Yeah, that's going to do it for us here, guys. Until next time. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not doing anything this time. None of that. Get Valbrave out of here.
Bye-bye.